Good morning and happy Thursday. It's a very happy day because the day is the last day in Module 157 and the end of SIM charting. I know this has been a learning curve for us and a little bit of an uphill battle, but I'd like to congratulate most of you for making it through successfully. So we have until 11:55 tonight to get any assignments in because we're not going to hold this module open. There was plenty of time to get things taken care of. So tomorrow we begin our module 158. So module 158 is 5 days. And you're going to find in Genzabar that I have uploaded your textbook and your workbook for you, and it's all going to be all in one book. I believe the book that you guys have in your Vital Source library is Ken's Manual for the Medical Assistant. We needed Ken's Manual for the Administrative Medical Assistant. You will be getting codes, so you will have that book, and I will be dispersing codes for you guys to have it in your library because it's part of your course. But I want you to understand that, oh, I think that's Brianna popping in again on our regular computer. But anyway, we will be getting codes for those, but in lieu of not having it, I'm uploading it like I did for the SIM charting book because I want you guys to have what you need. But no, I want you to note that what it's going to be is it's going to be your chapter 22, and then your workbook's going to be directly behind it. I didn't separate it because it's only 5 days and there's no reason to separate it. It's all in one document. The second thing is I'm not doing a week at a glance because it's only 5 days. So be mindful that this is a 5-day module, and you don't want to not do your assignments in this module or be absent in this module because it's only 5 days. So what happens is you only have 5 days to make your grades. Now, I do want to tell you your major grade is going to be your resume. Next Tuesday, the plan is that Mr. Cedric Ivory is going to be coming to Zoom. He's actually going to be hosting the Zoom, and he is our career services coordinator. And it's very important because he'll be able to get to know some of you. He'll give you advice on resumes, cover letters, interviewing, but we're going to practice that too. So I don't want you to think that we're not going to practice it as a class. We are. Because first impressions are sometimes the very last impressions you get to make, right? So we need to make the very best impression. We want to seem the most knowledgeable, but most of all, we want to seem we want to be the most enthusiastic about what we're applying for. Because I think we've talked about before, say that you're going in for a billing job. So say it's Brianna going in for a billing job, and she's young and she doesn't have a lot of experience in the field, but she goes in with enthusiasm and positivity and the willingness to learn. And our other applicant is an older lady. She's been billing for 15 years and she's set in her ways and not real flexible and comes in with, I know what I'm doing. Who are they going to hire? They're going to hire the enthusiastic one, the one who has the ability or the want to learn and change and grow. Medical billing and coding, whether it's front desk all the way to the back end, you have to have flexibility because it's a growing and changing field. And so we have to grow and change along with it. So I'm 50, guys. I don't ever get into I can't grow more or learn more or change things or upgrade, or we call it amping it up. So we always need to realize just because the job has been the same way for 5 years doesn't mean on year 6 you're not going to have to make some changes. So that's a very important point to make. And I think that is all that I have. Pink Out continues on through the month of October, and then on October the 29th, I believe, we're supposed to have an online, it says online lecture. I don't know. I think that administration is doing that. I wouldn't assume that it's a lecture like we're used to, right? But they're inviting us to come to a Halloween costume party. You are not required to be in this. But if you come and you win the contest, you win a Walmart gift card. So they're looking for an opportunity to do something for you guys and make it fun. I'm dressing up, of course, and I'm going to be a scarecrow. And I bought 0 to do it. I'm just doing it from the stuff around the house. So, I was going to be an old lady. I was that last year, and I made a great old lady. I had a walker and everything. So it was a lot of fun. It's just fun. We need to grab those opportunities to have fun when we can, right? Okay, so are you guys ready for a Google slideshow? You knew I'm going to stick it in there some way or another, right? Okay, so what are we going to be talking about today? We're going to be talking about documentation, about if it's not documented, did it happen? So we're going to be talking about that, how important documentation is. And also we're going to be talking about how you can improve documentation. Also, we're going to talk about written communication. Welcome, Miss Tanara. So
hey everyone, how are you?
Unmute yourself and say hello back, ladies. She's
Okay.
Wonderful.
Hi.
Hey everyone.
Morning.
I want you to notice that my ladies are in pink.
Oh, missed the memo.
Well, we do it on our Zoom days, but Melanie even has pink hair. She says it was supposed to be purple, but it looks pink to me. So
I see it. That's cool. Great.
Okay, so we're going to get right into our slideshow, and we're going to discuss again documentation, why it's important. We're also going to be hitting on written communication again. We've been over this, but this is kind of a review to wrap up sim charting. Whoop, whoop. I know we're happy about that. Miss Tanara be happy about that too. Okay, so we're going to share our screen. And you guys know, either I have to begin with something inspirational, but today I went with cheesy funny. Let's read our joke so we can get a good laugh before we get into our lesson. Why wouldn't the skeleton cross the road? Because he didn't have any guts. What do you call a witch on a beach? A sand witch? What kind of shoes does a ghost wear? Boots. I love that one. I can't wait to tell my kids. Why didn't Dracula have any friends? Because he's a pain in the neck. Why do witches ride broomsticks? Because vacuum cleaners are too heavy. What is a ghost's favorite food? Spook Eddie. Now, listen. Did we at least smile with those? I know they're cheesy, but I love the cheesy jokes. So I just wanted to make you smile. All right, let's go back to our Google document, our Google slideshow on documentation. Okay, the cardinal rule. If you didn't document it, you didn't do it. So, Melissa, what does this statement mean? You can unmute yourself and
I did.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, well, if you don't do it, then it's not going to be documented. I mean, it's like it never happened.
Correct. Okay, Kelly, what does this have to do with you as far as a medical billing and coding specialist or a receptionist or anybody, a payment collector?
Well, you can't bill for something that didn't ever happen.
That's right. So good answers. So let's get into that a little bit more. So we're going to talk about what is documentation and why is it important. Well, a documentation is the record of care. So if you do something, you have to document in order to have the records in order to bill. Documentation is the primary way that we demonstrate what we did, for whom, when, and with what effects. Documentation encompasses every conceivable form of recordable patient data and information from vital signs to medication administration, and also records to narrative nursing notes. Now, you know, we're not going to be doing nursing notes, but, you know, doctors make documentation, case workers make documentation, nurses make documentation, medical assistants make documentation. So documentation is so important because it simply gives a written record of patient care. Okay, documentation is a legal record. So it's not merely record keeping. It's important to have legal documentation because if you're being sued for malpractice, you need to be able to pull your records. If you have billed something and it came back as a denial, you need to be able to pull your records. And so then we go straight into, if it wasn't documented, it wasn't done. From a professional standpoint, this is entirely true. In the sense, documentation is how we prove what we did or what we didn't do in the course of caring for our patients. For this reason, documentation isn't peripheral to your job. It is central to it. Okay, so I want to talk about, and I'm actually going to look at you guys when I do this. So this is just going a little bit further into documentation. So let me give you a scenario. Your doctor comes to you and says, I need you to email Dr. Hart because I'm sending over a patient and I need for him to have the accurate documentation and I need him to respond with A, B, or C. So you do that. Well, 2 or 3 days later, there's no response. And your doctor comes back to you and says, Dr. Hart said he never received that correspondence. You didn't send it. And you're like, oh, I did. How are you going to prove it? Well, one way is to absolutely save it in your emails. But what if you have one of the email systems that wipe out emails after a certain length of time or whatever the case may be? What you're going to need is to keep correspondence. Now, I know there are a lot of ways to do it electronically, but I am actually going to show you a way to do it where it's a paper record and it's kept monthly. Because if you have important things that you've sent out and you need to keep a copy of, say that you send out a patient termination letter. Well, you make the letter and you put it in the mail for it to go. Well, then Miss Shirley says, well, I never received a document saying that I was fired from the practice. How do you once again prove that you did? Well, I would advise, and what I always use, and I still have one to this day, is a correspondence folder. And I'm going to show you those. So we have correspondence for 9/1 through 9/31/21, and it's just a manila folder and you can just write on it. And then I have the next month correspondence for 10/1 to 10/30. Correspondence records are those documents used to keep track of correspondences in an organization. They show evidence of important transactions, letters, reasons for writing, and those involve dates, addresses, emails, and other important messages. Now, if you're going to send out an important letter, like we were talking about Mrs. Shirley and her termination letter as being a patient, I would just make a copy of that letter and I would put it in my correspondence for that month. because you always want to be able to go back and say, yeah, doc, I did send that, and here's the copy. See how that makes you accountable. That covers you in a way that says, oh no, I did send it when you asked, and here's the copy of what I sent. So that may be important in your field. It may not. For me, when I was doing medical billing and coding, it was absolutely expected that we had a monthly correspondence folder. So I just want you to keep that in mind as maybe a tool in your toolbox. You know, we're always talking about that mental toolbox to keep in your toolbox when you get to your facility in your career. That, do I need to keep a correspondence folder? Think about that. Think about ways that you can organize yourself and you can cover yourself for whatever correspondence is coming in and out of the office. So I just wanted to point that out to you. I think it's an essential tool in a medical office. I just do. Okay, so next we're going to talk about written communication, and we're going to talk about strategies for effective writing. And this is a list of 11 strategies that you can use when you're having written communication. We're only going to cover 4 of those, but you have the list if you want to go and actually do some extra research. So 1 is to read. One of the best ways to become a good writer is to become a good reader. Frequent reading increases your vocabulary, exposes you to examples of good writing, and can teach you spelling, grammar, punctuation, and common writing techniques through repetition. The habit of reading can help you consider what writing styles are effective, what topics you might write about, and how you can engage effectively with an audience, even if it's an audience of 1. Okay. Number 5 is answer the 5 W's and H. The 5 W's and H are who, what, where, when, why, and how. Double checking that you answered all of these questions about your topic throughout your writing helps to ensure that you have communicated your subject fully and clearly. This is a strategy used by reporters and journalists to give an audience the full details of your story. Now, we're not necessarily telling a story, but the how, who, what, where, and when will definitely apply to emails to other employees or other medical facilities. Okay, be simple and direct. One mistake that ineffective writers often make is trying to make their language too flowery or worrying about using bigger words when smaller ones work well. Aim for a style that dictation is simple, direct, clear, and concise in order to communicate your purpose well. Every word and sentence is effective writing, adds value to the whole piece. And next is, I think, one of the most important things: revise, edit, and proofread. To revise, this is the step after you write the first draft. Revising is a process of looking at the macro view of your draft and considering what substantial changes you need to make to improve it. So editing, after revising, always edit your writing thoroughly. Proofreading is the final step before publishing or submitting your work. It's similar to editing, but involves going through your work in even finer detail to ensure that it is completely ready for your audience. Okay, so the next slide, recently we've been talking a little bit about ICD-10, and we're going to be going into that in the next couple of months. So I came up with some funny and bizarre ICD-10 codes. I didn't come up with them, I just found them. So bizarre personal appearance, I think we've done that one before, but I wanted to do S30.867A, insect bite, non-venomous of anus, initial encounter. I mean, just the idea of that and the visual made me crack up laughing. And then V8O.730A, animal rider injured in collision with streetcar. the initial encounter. So can you guys imagine how many times an animal with a rider had to run into a streetcar to actually make it into the ICD-10? I can't wait till we get into ICD-10 coding and we can actually see all of those crazy things and the fun things to remember. Okay, so did you guys learn anything about documentation and written communication? I think with written communication, being precise and to the point and professional without using huge jargon is going to be important. Simple and clear to the point. All right, so the next thing that we're going to talk about pertains to our next module, and it's going to be interview questions, okay? So there are actually specific interview questions for medical billing and coding specialists. Great medical billing and coding professionals are chameleons. And why do we say that? They are able to alter themselves to adapt to daily changes. They're also empathetic with patients, assertive with insurance companies, and analytical when they need to research claims. You can convey these qualities when interviewing for a medical billing and coding job by preparing effective responses to these job-specific interview questions. So thinking about it, how would we be chameleons? Ms. Elise, can you think of how we could be a chameleon in our job as a medical billing and coding specialist? Or in anything really, as a front end receptionist?
With making sure that when incoming patients comes in, that we make sure that we document, making sure that everything corresponds to what we should have when a new patient come in or existing patient, making
Okay.
sure that everything should be documented the right way and in order.
Yeah. I can think of a way we can be a chameleon, because if we're a billing specialist and they have to pull us out of our normal position, and then we have to go up front and answer the phone and make, it's switching roles, right? All of a sudden
Right.
you're really in a space by yourself, just clicking away, doing your billing, making sure everything's getting paid. But up front, all of a sudden we have that face-to-face patient interaction, which means that all of a sudden we have to put on that empathetic face, that hat of, okay, now I'm dealing with patient care in a way that's just simply mostly documentation, but still it's patient care, right?
Right.
Because if you have a patient come into the office and they're extremely upset and sick, you have to be able to put on that empathetic, very kind and nurturing face, because that first impression, you're the doctor's face, that they're the doctor's
They see.
facilities, that's the first face they see. And it's going to affect every interaction that they have in that facility, right? So if they
Right.
come up to you and they're sick and not feeling well, and you just upset them, they're going to be upset at every single station they go to. So, that's a way we can be a chameleon. Now, do I know that you're going to be pulled as a biller to be a front office? No, I don't, but I don't know that you're not. If you're working in a tiny facility, you may be crossing over to administrative medical assistant positions as needed. So I just want you to make sure that you think about how you may have to switch roles and be cross-trained and be able to be that chameleon for whatever position that you're in. So you need to remember that when you're going in for an interview, your interviewer may begin to interview by asking questions tailored to their practice. So if you know that you're going to interview for a cardiology clinic, what are you going to need to do? You're going to need to do some research, right? You're going to need to prepare yourself and practice those questions. Really look at cardiology as a whole, look at the anatomy, look at the ICD-10 book and the CPT book. If that's what you're going in for, you want to seem knowledgeable. You want to brush up on those. I always use cardiology, right, guys? Because I was a cardiology coder. It's my go-to. Okay, so now I'm going to ask a couple of questions. So Kelly, I'm going to ask you this one. Now I want you guys not to be nervous. This is just practice. Really just kind of, I'm putting you on the spot, right? So it's just practice of not being nervous and being put on the spot and being able to come up with those answers off the cuff. Melissa's looking at me like, don't you ask me no questions. I see that look. Okay, so Kelly, this is yours. Knowing that you haven't been in a billing capacity yet, understanding that I know that we have not necessarily been in these situations, I want to make you think. So, Kelly, which insurance programs have you billed? Have you billed Medicare or our state insurance program, which is Medicaid, or only PPOs?
This is knowing I haven't done this job. I haven't billed any of them.
Okay, you haven't billed any of those, but is that what you're going to say? I've not done that. I hadn't billed none of those. You would say, I have not had the experience yet to bill any of those, but I have great knowledge at what a PPO is, how Medicare, what Medicare is, and what Medicaid is. I am looking forward to being trained in billing those. So you see how you can take an inexperience and turn it to the positive side, right? We never want to say, I haven't done that and leave it. You have to expand because there's something somewhere we haven't done. There's stuff that I haven't done. I need to be transparent, but I need to make sure that my interviewer knows I have not done it, but I have done my homework. I know what each of these insurances are, and I am looking forward to the experience of being trained on how to do that. So we're taking that and turning it, making sense?
Mhm.
Okay, now Miss Elise, I'm going to go to you for this one. All right, so you're going to keep in mind that you have been working in a small office, but you're looking to go to a different office. And this is your question from the interviewer. Does your current employer use EMR or EHR? Okay, now we just came through the electronic health records and SIM charting.
Right.
Think about what you've learned in that
Okay.
and compose an answer.
Okay. I would approach it as I've had some training in EHR during the process of my teaching or classes, but I'm not knowledgeable to the point where I can not have more training to do it. And I would love to have more training in that position or department to do more or to apply more to what I need to do for that
Okay.
position.
Okay, not a bad answer, but I would never use the phrase not knowledgeable,
Okay.
because Miss Elise, you are knowledgeable.
Okay.
You can get in and make an appointment. It doesn't matter if it looks just like SIM charting. You know the process in which to do that, correct?
Right.
You know the process. So I am knowledgeable. I had extensive training during my schooling how to do
Okay.
this. I feel confident that
Okay.
I could use an EHR program. Of course, I would love some extra. I would love some extra training, but I think I know that I have the basic principles down.
Okay.
So does that seem like you see
Yeah.
where we're not selling ourselves short?
Short. Right.
We're not. Okay, let's see. Brianna, sorry. You know, I keep trying to make it a fancy name. What's your computer experience been? You have to unmute yourself.
My computer experience is with Microsoft Excel.
Now remember, you're interviewing for a medical billing specialist. So I just wanted to remind that. Okay, does somebody want to help her out, get her started?
I am proficient with the EHR as well as the EMR systems.
Yeah, I love that word, proficient. I'm proficient in Word and Excel. And I had extensive training in the EMR, EHR systems during my schooling. I'm able to type 35 words a minute. You know, things like that. Does that sound good? Does that sound like where we need to be going? And it's okay. We're going to practice these, guys. We're going to continue to practice. Okay, Melissa. Do you have a medical billing certification? If not, are you planning to get certified, or are you in the process of getting certified? If you went on a job interview tomorrow,
Okay.
what would you say?
To the question, if I'm proficient in it
No.
or certified.
Yeah. Do you have a medical billing certification?
I am not, no, I'm not certified yet, but I'm in the process.
You're in the process. That's a great answer, but I would like for you to make sure you
Okay.
expand and say, I am almost finished with my online course. And at the end, I'm taking my certification exam, and I am very confident that I'm going to be ready to go. We
You
all,
want to come with me?
but what do you got? Okay. Looking at it, what do you see that I'm doing when I answer the questions and what you're doing?
You're looking excited and I'm nervous.
You're nervous, and it seems like you don't have much confidence. Guys, enthusiastic and confident, not cocky, right? Not cocky, but confident. Even if you guys, I have been to interviews where I felt like
I was
when
put on a spot a lot
yeah,
in
well,
my interviews.
my medical, when I went and interviewed to get a medical billing job at Acadiana Billing Solutions, do you not think that I was like, but what I did was I just pulled up. You know what I mean by pulling up? I didn't do this. I just pulled up. I put my smile on, and I just let my enthusiasm not be over enthusiastic, but she knew that I had some knowledge, but I was so excited to learn more, and I wanted to be a part of their company, and I thought I can be a great asset. If you have to sell yourselves, and then you have to tell yourself that. What are you saying to yourself? Are you saying, I don't know nothing, I can't do nothing, I didn't see nothing? No, I know a lot. And I am so excited to put that knowledge into works. Okay, Melanie, I haven't forgotten about you, but I know you have the baby in your hands. Do you think that you can do one?
Yeah, I've got both kids, but yes, I can do it.
Okay, this is a good one. Do you think insurance companies sometimes play games to see if they can avoid paying claims? You muted your, Adelie muted you.
She does that. No, I don't think they are playing games. However, they do have strict policies and rules they do have to abide by, and they have jobs as well and rules they have to follow.
Okay.
And they have to make sure everything is filled out correctly, just like we have to make sure everything is filled out correctly.
Okay. All right. You can go ahead and mute yourself. Now, I'm going to just ask the class as a collective, do you think that that insurance companies play games to avoid paying?
No, I don't think they play games.
You don't?
I think it's, if they have a mistake, yeah, they'll send it back so they don't have to pay it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Miss
I
Elise?
do. I really think that a lot of insurance companies try to get around doing some or paying some claims that they don't want to pay. that's just insurance companies. Some are good, some are not.
Right. Okay, Brianna, what do you think?
Agree with Mr. Lease on that. It's like it's a trick question. So yes,
It's a
some are good.
trick. It's a trick question. Okay, Kelly, what do you think?
I think they do. They need to have, they have money that they're trying to save as well. And if they can get out of paying it, they will.
Okay, do you guys remember me talking about, okay, did you, okay, I was, she keeps unmuting you.
No, for like an interview, I would say no, but in reality, I do believe that there are some companies out there that will try not to pay if they don't have to, kind of thing. It's just kind of what you would say in an interview versus what would be kind of
The truth. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Well, do you want to know what my answer would be?
Mhm.
Okay, I would say I do believe they play games, but the way to win is to be knowledgeable in how to get claims paid. Proper documentation, knowing the rules and regulations of each insurance, knowing that some insurances will go back and post date if you don't have a pre-authorization. You remember we talked about Medicare. When you get a Medicare denial, they won't tell you why. It's up to you to find out. Remember the one that I worked on for 3 months just to find out that we had the patient as female and he was male? How easy would that have been? Yeah, that was an oversight, but I have to tell you, we worked on that thing forever, and it was just one of those slight little things that you don't think would be an issue. They knew that it was because we had them mark the wrong gender. Why couldn't they just tell us? Because they don't want to pay, right? It's our job to not engage in the game and to come with the cold, hard facts. That's we dwell in facts, and it goes back to, if it's not documented, it didn't happen. If it was documented, that's our facts, right? I want to point out something else. Talking about correspondence. That Medicare situation that I worked on for so long, and me and a group of people, it wasn't just me. I made copies of my CMS 1500 form that was corrected. I made copies of every denial that was sent because of the situation, my notes, everything to do with this denied claim, which did get paid, but I made sure I kept the correspondence. Why? Because I wanted to make sure that if it didn't get paid, that I had documentation on it that I could just pull right back out, right? Put that in my correspondence folder. I knew that it was for that month. So I knew where it was so I could go get that additional information. Okay, so what did you guys think? Did you learn something?
Yeah, I did.
Definitely.
Well, I hope you guys have a wonderful afternoon. And as always, if you need anything, or call me, right? Text or call me. Okay. Oh, I do want to tell y'all, my email is acting up, but we are actively working to try to get that fixed. Okay. So if you sent me something by email, which I know that a lot of you don't normally do that, then I'm not getting it. Kelly, I did get yours, but that was the last email that I received. You broke my email, Kelly. No, she didn't. Start working on resumes and cover letters, okay? Just kind of get in your head, because there's lots of different ones to choose from. And also start researching interview tactics, okay? All right, well, have a wonderful weekend. If you need me, let me know. And we'll see you on Tuesday. And Mr. Cedric's supposed to be on Tuesday to give us some tips on resumes and again on interview processes and things of that nature. So have a good one, guys. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.